Hi, everyone. My name is Lauren Sprague, and I am a social worker with the Truman VA Caregiver Support Program. Thank you for tuning in to our virtual resource fair for caregivers. I am joined today by Jeremy Koerber with the Alzheimer's Association. He is going to be answering some of my questions about the Alzheimer's Association and providing some resources and supports for our caregivers in the community. Jeremy, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, let's just dive right in. Can you tell me a little bit about the Alzheimer's Association, how it was created, how long it's been around?
Yeah, so the association was actually formed around 1980, and it was actually put together by a group of family caregivers that recognized that there needed to be an organization out there that would help to, I think it really started with uniting caregivers and providing support to those facing the diagnosis. And, with that being said, it also evolved into championing and helping to fund research for treatments, cures, etc.
Okay, wow, that's great. Thank you. Tell me a little bit about the services and supports that you can offer caregivers.
Yeah, great question. So I think the first thing we want to shoot for really at all times is that 24/7 helpline. And the reason for that is because it's designed to be a safe place where you could ask a question. And it could be any question that you need. So if you feel you're maybe not necessarily experiencing signs or symptoms, but it could be a family member or a friend, you can call and you can ask questions. This is staffed 24/7 with master's level specialists. So I mean, they really are the experts. I call the helpline the first line of defense. If you're going to do anything, that's kind of where you want to go. But it can also be a crisis line. So if you're a caregiver and it's 2 o'clock in the morning and the person you're caring for is aggressive or they're hallucinating or they're trying to wander and get out of the house, the helpline can serve as a tool to help give you the tactics or the strategies to help talk, the person off the fence or along those lines. So that's the first thing.
Right.
Second would be education, and that's primarily what my job is. So I'm responsible for education in 96 counties throughout Missouri and Illinois, Columbia being one of those. And so right now, obviously it's virtual, and we do everything from the Healthy Living series, which is more preventative, to dementia conversations, which how do you have that conversation with that person about driving or going to the doctor or legal and financial issues, up to caregiver workshops, patient, how to deal with behaviors, etc. We offer early stage programming, both for persons with dementia and caregivers. Support groups, very important for those individuals who are going through this process, their caregivers, adult children, you name it. And the last thing we do, which I think is wildly underutilized, is the care consultation, which is essentially sitting down with one of our social workers and truly planning out what life is going to be like, connecting to local resources. And that's something done when we can in person, but right now we do these over the phone and virtually.
That's amazing. I know a lot of folks struggle with having those conversations with their loved ones. So the fact that there is support and education out there about how to approach that, that's wonderful.
Right.
Do any of these services cost any money?
See, that's the best part. Everything we do is 100% free.
Okay, awesome. That's always good to hear. And I think you answered this question before, but if I have a family member who is just diagnosed with dementia, but I don't know anything about that diagnosis, can the Alzheimer's Association help me?
So I think what we want to do, to draw a line, we don't diagnose and we're not clinicians. That's not exactly how that works. But yes, in terms of that first line of defense, I think calling that helpline is really where we always steer people towards, because even if, it doesn't matter where you live, we're national. So you call the helpline and they can then dial down to the local offices in that realm. So I think that's the first thing. I also suggest that every family consider that care consultation, because if you kind of know and can plan and be connected to resources, especially early diagnosis where that individual can be part of the planning, they can kind of tell you, this is what I want. This is what we want to try and do. Is long-term care in my future? Do I want to stay at home as long as I can? So through planning, especially with the person, it empowers them, and it really helps the family figure out what the next few years is going to look like, which then now they can focus on today. They don't have to worry about, let's focus on living day by day. And then you can address what happens as it happens. But I really encourage people to consider that care consultation.
And taking on more of a proactive approach versus
Absolutely.
a reactive.
Absolutely.
Approach.
Yep.
Yeah. That seems to be the key to avoiding a lot of crises.
Right.
So, okay. Well, we've talked about the helpline. Is there a website available that folks could go to find out more information as well?
So just, and I don't know if I mentioned this, but the number for the helpline, 800-272-3900. So 1-800-272-3900. You can also go to alz.org. So that's going to be the national website. And what I would say is you go to the section where you can actually plug in your zip code. So, being in Columbia, we have a physical office in Columbia. Now, right now, it's not open, but we're still here. We're just working remote. So if you need to get to a local resource, you can go through the helpline, or you can go through the website and get connected to whichever chapter suits you best.
Okay. And that's great. That was going to lead me right into my next question about local supports, because I know having that connection with somebody in your hometown or in your county can be really crucial when you're taking care of a loved one with dementia.
Absolutely. So, just to kind of let you know what we're doing on top of working with you, we have a program coming up in October at the Daniel Boone Regional Library. So just because we can't be there physically, we're still doing virtual education programs. So I think that's important. I think in terms of the help that we can provide to the local office in Columbia, again, there's a local number for that. You would get through that by going through the helpline. That's critical. And then if someone would really like to get involved with, really raising awareness or even the fundraising arm, the Columbia Walk to End Alzheimer's is October 25th. And it's going to look a little different because instead of meeting in one group, people will be walking in really small groups of less than 10 people around the community. So if we do this right and everybody wears their purple and they get out, it could be pretty awesome because it's not going to be one, it could be all over Columbia. But if you're interested in that, you could visit alz.org/COMO walk, COMO walk. Chris Cottle is the contact person for that, and his number is 573-673-4292. And again, it's an opportunity. If you're into fundraising, that's great. But if you just want to come out to help raise awareness, the biggest thing with this disease is stigma, and people they're afraid to get the diagnosis. They're afraid to find out what's next. I'm going to tell you right now, there are so many reasons why, the planning being one of them, that we want to get people care as early as possible.
Right.
Yeah.
It takes some of the scariness out of that.
It absolutely does.
Diagnosis. And I mean, just to have this support in place for them round the clock, really.
Right.
Is wonderful. So that's great. That's great. Well, thank you, Jeremy. This has been enlightening. And thank you, everyone who's tuned in for our virtual resource fair today. If anyone out there has any questions for either myself or Jeremy, please feel free to reach out to me. Again, my name is Lauren Sprague. I am with the Caregiver Support Program at the Truman VA. I can be reached at 573-355-7788. Thanks again, Jeremy.
Thank you.